Hey goal achievers, it's Coach Justin here. If you've been studying personal development for quite some time, you've read books, watched videos, and possibly even worked with other coaches, but somehow you're stuck in the same spot, your income has plateaued, you have a lack of time freedom, and the truth is you feel like your dreams are slipping through your fingers, there's one habit, one that I know for a fact is the missing link for you. And no, it's not journaling at 4 a.m. It's not ice baths. This one simple habit is the core principle to every single one of my clients who has increased their income to $30,000, $40,000, even $100,000 a month and created real freedom. And today I'm going to break it down step by step so you can finally create the results that you deserve. If this is your first time watching, welcome. My name's Justin Grimer. I've been a mindset coach for 8 years now. I've worked with over 2,000 clients globally, and I was business partners and close friends with Bob Proctor for over 6 years. On this channel, I show you how to actually implement the principles of success so you can live the life that you deserve. All right, let's dive into the one habit that separates those who stay stuck from those who create real, tangible results, and that is discipline. Now, the most simple definition of discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. And the opposite of discipline is actually procrastination. And the truth is, discipline is the root cause of elevated self-worth, self-esteem, and self-image. And discipline is one of the keys to freedom and one of the keys to unlocking the life of your dreams. Time freedom, emotional freedom, and financial freedom. And as what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to offer you 3 very simple steps to allow you to implement discipline into your day-to-day life. Step 1, have clearly defined goals. An exercise that I often give to my clients is an exercise called Pre-Plan Your Success. This is an exercise that I developed all the way back in 2015, and I was able to utilize to apply into my life to create discipline and consistency in my daily habits to transition from a carpenter who was working 65 to 70 hours a week. I was run down, I was stressed, I was fed up and just about ready to give up, to building multiple successful online businesses. So how the pre-planning your success exercise would work is you start right from when you wake up in the morning. So you'd identify, what time do I want to wake up in the morning? What time do I need to wake up in the morning for me to have enough time to go through my day, to get done what I need to get done, to live the life that I want to live? So let's say for this example, that time is 5 a.m. And then you can literally schedule in from 5 a.m. to 5:15 a.m., wake up, shower, gratitude. Then from 5:15 a.m. to 6 a.m., study, right? You're studying personal development. You might be reading Think and Grow Rich, You Were Born Rich, The Power of Now, Power of Awareness, whatever it is that you're studying. And then let's just say, for the sake of this example, the person is working a 9 to 5 job or an 8 to 6 job or whatever your circumstances dictate. And I want you to remember that I'm just giving a rough example here so you can take the principle in which I'm using and you can apply the principle into your life. The time slots are just examples. Then you'd say from 6 a.m. to 6:30, get dressed properly, get ready for work. From 6:30 a.m. to 7, my commute, driving to work, / affirmations and auto suggestion. 7 a.m. to 5 p.m, work, right? 5 p.m. to 5:30, drive home. 5:30 to 6:30, gym. 6:30 to 7 o'clock, dinner. 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, income producing activities on my side business. Again, this is just an example. Now, as what I've given here is an example from top to bottom of what someone has identified. These are the simple action steps that I need to take. And if I execute this, I've pre-planned my success over enough of a period of time, the results will take care of themselves. What does this pre-planning your success exercise allow you to do? This gives you structure. This gives you clearly defined goals. This gives you a daily framework to work inside of, where you say to yourself, all I need to do is execute what's in front of me and the results will take care of themselves. Step number 2, Less is more. The number one thing that I see stopping people from implementing discipline into their life is the fact that they give themselves 100 things to do a day. There's a great quote by Bruce Lee where he says, "I never fear the opponent who practices 1,000 moves. I fear the opponent who practices one move 10,000 times." We need to adopt this into our day-to-day. Set yourself up to win. If you're a business owner, don't wake up in the morning and give yourself 20, 30, 40 tasks to do a day. And when I say that, it might sound silly, but this is what I see so many people do. And then what happens? It's paralysis through analysis, right? They're looking at their list of 30 or 40 things to do. They spend 1 hour trying to figure out what they're going to do first. They get overwhelmed and they end up doing nothing. Less is more. And here's the secret about executing less is more, okay? Let's say, for example, where less is more becomes so effective is if you form the habit of giving yourself less, executing less to a higher degree, implement discipline, set yourself up to win. Once you're disciplined, you become more consistent. What's consistency? Consistency is the ability to do ordinary things for an extraordinary period of time. Once you're consistent with something over enough of a period of time, listen to this because it's so important. Once it becomes a habit, it becomes harder not to do than to do. Then, once it's a habit, once it's a part of your daily rituals, once it's a part of your daily routine habitually, you can add another habit. You do that for 30 days, then you can add another habit. And this is what's called stacking positive behaviors. Instead of trying to do all of 2025's growth in one day, you focus in on getting 1% better every single day. You focus in on doing today's work today. Then you do tomorrow's work tomorrow. And number 3, do hard better. You know, I read something online the other day that I absolutely loved. And it said, you can feel the pain of discipline today, or you can feel the pain of regret in the future. And if there's one thing that I've discovered after studying personal development for 13 years, I studied this material for 2.5 years with no results. I was a walking, talking encyclopedia of this knowledge. If there's one thing that I've discovered is you get to choose your own hard, okay? Being fit, healthy and strong is hard because it requires discipline, it requires consistency, it requires sacrifice, it requires going to the gym, it requires lifting heavy weights, it requires doing things that you don't necessarily want to do. But guess what? Being overweight is hard. Living a life of time and financial freedom, it can be hard. Once again, it's discipline, it's consistency, it's sacrifice, it's getting uncomfortable, it's willing to be a beginner, it's failing your way forward. However, the truth is, living paycheck to paycheck and having no time freedom is also hard. You get to choose your own hard. And here's something I want to impress upon you about creating a habit that not many people are talking about, okay? It's only hard for a small period of time until it becomes a habit. Then, once it becomes a habit, it becomes easier to do than not to do. Let me give you an example, okay? And I always use the time that I wake up in the morning as a little bit of an example because the truth is that was one of the first paradigms I ever personally shifted to create significant change in my life. I used to hate the mornings, right? I used to not be a morning person. I always used to wake up tired and grumpy. And when I was a carpenter, I was accountable to going onto a job site, so I had to get my ass out of bed. However, when I started my side business, when I replaced my income and I moved into the part of my journey where I had time freedom, getting out of bed was very difficult for me. So I was constantly sleeping in. One morning I was waking up at 5 a.m., then I'd be sleeping into 7 a.m. And this was the first domino to really affect my whole day, right? It made me constantly operate through mental hurry. Discipline become very difficult. If discipline's difficult, consistency was impossible. And it had a really negative flow-on effect. So I took a pen and a paper and I wrote out, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every morning full of energy and full of life. This was all the way back in 2016. the first thought that comes to my mind is today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be an amazing day. In fact, what I wrote down on that piece of paper was the exact opposite to what I was experiencing in my physical world. Well, I turned this into an affirmation and I wrote it out on a piece of paper, and I told myself I was going to read it 5 times as soon as I woke up in the morning. Then I was going to set an alarm every 2 hours from when I woke up. So if I wake up at 5 a.m., I'm setting alarm for 7, 9, 11, 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and so on and so forth. And whenever my alarm goes off, I'm going to take some time and I'm going to constantly read that affirmation to myself. What am I doing when I'm doing this? I'm planting that idea into my subconscious mind. And then how do I reinforce that? Okay, yes, affirmations are important to creating success, but what's going to enforce the positive behavior is actually setting my alarm for 5 a.m. and actually getting out of bed and actually getting into my day. It's the implementation part of personal development that most people miss. Most people say, well, I'm going to tell myself that I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to sing it in front of the mirror and I'm going to sing positive affirmations and eventually I'll believe it, and then when I believe it, I'll do it. No, that is like saying you put on the wood and then I'll give you the heat. That dog will not hunt. You have to actually set your alarm and you have to actually get up in the morning. You have to actually do hard better. You have to breathe life into the person you want to become. You have to breathe life into your goal. So let's say for this example, right, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. Day 1, I'm on a little bit of a high. I have a sugar hit from the goal that I just set. Day 1 is really, really good. Day 2, even better. Day 3, perfect. Then day 4 comes. My sleep was a little bit interrupted. I got to bed late. I was playing on my phone. My paradigm is giving me a little bit of resistance. And the next day comes, my alarm goes off, and for the life of me, I cannot get out of bed. It feels like there's 100-pound, 200-pound gorilla sitting on my chest, pinning me down. This is where I have to make a decision. This is where I say to myself, how bad do I want to live the life that I want to live? Well, this is where I say to myself, I get to feel the pain of discipline in the present, or I get to feel the pain of regret in the future for not doing the things I knew I should have done to get me the results that I want to achieve. And I get up and I'm tired and I'm lethargic and every cell of my body is trying to pull me back. However, I understand every thought that I think, every action that I take is rather breathing life into the life that I want or breathing life into the life that I don't want. And it's only a very short period of time that I have to do hard better. It's only a very short period of time where I get to choose my hard. And that time might be day 15, that time may be day 18, that time may be day 35. However, you will hit a point where your subconscious mind completely accepts that idea. It becomes a part of your thermostat, and then it becomes harder not to do than to do. And then you'll hear someone say, well, I get up at 5 a.m. even on weekends because that's my body clock. Body clock is what they're really saying is, I am in the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. It is harder for me not to wake up at 5 a.m. than it is to wake up at 5 a.m. And let me tell you this right now, everything is a habit. Winning is a habit. You can get to a point where it's harder not to win than it is to win. Losing is a habit. Earning money is a habit. You can get to a point where it's harder for you not to earn $50,000 a month than it is to earn $50,000 a month. And that might seem like a big idea for you to accept, but all you need to do is look around. There are people all around the world who are earning tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's harder for them to earn less than it is for them to earn what they're presently earning. And you can do that. The time that you get out of bed in the morning is a habit. Your confidence is a habit. Your decision making is a habit. And the first core principle for you to shift any of these habits is implementing discipline into every area of your life.